I caught my wife cheating, talked to her cheating partner, and told his husband the truth. I have no idea what to do. I'm lost. I miss the signs that were there. Love made me stupid, and I never thought this would happen to me. Not with my wife and best friend of almost 20 years. I work out of town and wasn't supposed to get back until tonight. We were planning to leave tomorrow for a 2-day car trip. I went home yesterday afternoon because work was slow. After having a great summer with family and friends, we planned this trip to give us some time to ourselves. There was a truck in my driveway that I didn't know when I got home. Recently, my friend asked how I liked the new truck. I thought he was wrong and didn't give it much thought. I didn't like what I saw when I saw the truck. Even though I loved and trusted my wife completely, that feeling was strong. I got into our bedroom window by sneaking around the side of the house. When I got close, I could hear them because the door was open. My worst fears came true when I peered through the window. They had nothing on when they were on my bed. I left. I've been resisting the urge to do something I'll feel bad about. I'm not sure if I care what happens to me anymore. My family and I stayed the night at their camp and I drank everything. Today, on my way home, I thought about talking to her, but I chose not to. I'm not ready yet. I only feel angry. All I can think about is getting hurt. I'm not feeling good right now. Not good enough to see her. I'm now back in the house. I have looked at my 60-ounce bottle of rum for an hour. I want to get drunk and forget about it, but I don't want to decide what's right or wrong. I know that what I do in the next few days will have an impact on the rest of my life. That's why I'm here. Please help me. Since I'm not ready to talk to family or friends, I'm going to talk to people I don't know. I can't believe how much help and advice I've gotten. It really moved me to think about how many nice people are willing to help a stranger. Just when I need it, it gives me hope for the world. That being said, all this help is making it hard for me to answer everyone. About 600 private texts and a few hundred comments on Reddit have been sent to me. I want to thank each person personally, and I will try to do that, but it will take time. Before I go, I want to thank everyone for their nice comments and helpful ideas. It really means a lot to me. There are some comments and questions that keep coming up, so I wanted to clear things up and give you a little nudge. I feel a lot better today, in case you can't tell. The pain has almost completely gone away. Even though I still feel like I got hit in the stomach, I've begun to think about the future. I don't think this is right since it's only been 2 days. Is this the calm before the storm, or am I really strong? What I meant when I called my wife my best friend was that she was both my wife and my best friend. That guy wasn't my best friend or anyone I know. I didn't get a good look at him, but from what I saw in his car, I don't think it was someone I knew. We didn't have kids yet, but we were going to have them soon. We just sold our house and were planning to move closer to where I work in September, when the new owners would take possession. I am going to thank my friend for telling me, but I will do it in a quiet way, like he did for me. A lot of people have asked me about the signs I mentioned. Here are a few that come to mind right now. It was really late at night when she texted. She started going out with her friends every night after work for drinks. She didn't usually act like this, so I was glad she was being friendly. She said she went to yoga once a week but didn't pay because a friend who taught yoga gave her a pass in exchange for helping set up and clean up. I thought it was strange that she looked stiff for someone who said they did yoga. Calls from unknown numbers often end in hang-ups. We often answer each other's calls when we're nearby. But every time I answered, I heard someone hang up. A lot of spam calls come to us. But most of them are from telemarketers or debt collectors trying to get in touch with the last person who had our number. Hang-ups like this don't happen very often. We talked for a long time when my brother came over. My real best friend, he taught me how important it is to remember that he will always be there for me, without judging. Just like I would be there for him. He really shows what a real friend is, even though we sometimes disagree. Since I was going to be home last night, I chose to answer my wife's text message. At work, we're not allowed to use our phones, so it was fine for me to say I could only text her. I know it's easy for me to sneak in a few notes. I told her via text message that I would not be able to call until the end of the weekend because I had to go to one of the company's remote sites. I also told her I would stop our plans and make new ones later. She told me that she and her best friend could go to the lovely bed and breakfast on the farm that I had booked. I saw that it wasn't the best friend she was telling me she had. It wasn't refundable, so I told her I had already given the ticket to my brother and his wife, and that they would pay me back in a month. Except for the personal one, I scrapped all of my other plans this morning. Instead, my brother is coming with me. We were lucky that the hotel let us switch from the wedding suite to a room with 2 beds. We've turned this into a much-needed fishing trip because there's a beautiful lake nearby where we can rent boats. I won't have to talk to her for a few days because of this trip. I'll be free over the weekend. That makes me feel better and gives me more time to think. I'm thinking about getting a divorce right now. I really can't see any other way. My brother is on my side, but he told me to wait a few weeks and talk to someone first. His wife has a friend who works as a couple psychologist and can talk to me on Monday. It might not change my mind, but it could help me get some of this mess under control. I've also started talking to lawyers and asking other people for help online. At the very least, I want to be ready for something that seems like it can't be avoided. I want to do it the right way. I didn't think she would try to trick me, but I also didn't think she would cheat. Anything could happen, so I need to be ready. Thank you all again. I'm going to try to make the most of my weekend. Update 2: I caught my wife. In the past few days, there has been a lot of cheating. I'll begin with the less important topics. Matt, my brother, and I drove to the vineyard bed and breakfast for almost 5 hours. He has been there for me through everything, and I really respect it. There wasn't much else I did on the drive besides vent, but it did help me clear my mind. I just needed some time to myself, after talking about how I felt for most of the trip. I stayed in the room while Matt went out to dinner. It was nice that he brought me food. The next day we went out on the water. The owner of the BB knew we were going fishing, so he kindly packed a small cooler with food and drinks for us. That's what they did to try and make the romance package better for two guys going fishing. Their intelligent move to make the romance deal better for two brothers was very kind. It wasn't a great day for fishing. We both caught a few fish, but because they were too big, we had to let them go. The BB snacks were great. In the middle of the afternoon, we stopped fishing and went to grocery stores and fruit stands to buy food and wine for Jennifer, Matt's wife. We bought the biggest tomahawk steak we could find for dinner that night. We went back to Matt's place on Sunday. He lives in the town next to mine, which is about an hour away. We got there and Jen was already there. We opened a cold bottle of white wine from the cooler. At that point, my weekend was over. Jen told me that she decided to spy on my wife while we were away. She says the guy stayed at my house all night on Friday. Jen got there early Saturday morning, just as he was leaving. She followed him home and found the apartment he lived in. My wife stayed there on Saturday night and texted me to tell me she loved me and missed me. Jen told me that she split her time between following my wife and visiting family in my town. On Sunday morning, she caught my wife leaving his apartment and took a few pictures of them kissing and hugging before she got in her car. The pictures are not what I want to see. That pretty much sealed the deal for me. I believe I will never trust her again. So simple a lie she tells me she loves me when she's with someone else. I decided not to make any snap decisions based on how I felt, no matter what. It's important for me to stay calm. Jen told me that Sharon, the psychologist she had talked about earlier, was going to be over for dinner. The person Jen set up a meeting for me was Sharon. To be clear, Sharon had never met my wife, and I was meeting her for the first time. Sharon was a nice girl, and we got along right away. We walked the dogs through Matt's area after dinner to have a quiet talk. Sharon listened well, and it was easy for me to be honest with her, which was helpful. Even though I'm close to my brother, it was nice to talk to Sharon instead. That's also why I like blogging on Reddit. It gives me a way to let off steam and sort out my ideas. It took us about an hour to walk, and Sharon's only useful advice was to not put off talking to my wife. It will be harder to talk to her if I wait any longer, she told me. Sharon told me that right now I need understanding more than anything else, and that my wife is the only one who can give it to me. Late that night, Matt and Jen told me I could stay with them for as long as I needed to. I talked to my boss because I know Matt and I have limits when it comes to living together. He found me a place to live in business housing, and I've been going there every 2 weeks. I usually take off on my days off, but my boss has set me up to work full-time for a few months in case I need to. I changed the time of my meeting with Sharon to later this week. Thinking that our walk would be enough for the first meeting, she agreed. As I lay in bed on Sunday night, I thought about how to talk to my wife about it. I got mad or sad over things I just thought about. For some reason, I chose to wing it. I'm usually good under pressure. I got up yesterday, said goodbye to Matt and Jen, and drove home. I was afraid of what would happen if the guy was there when I got there. Knowing that seeing him would make me angry again, just like it did a few days before, shocked me. In order to escape this, I chose to do a drive-by first. His truck and my wife's car were not there. I went inside and got a bunch of things I needed and things I didn't want to lose. Mostly pictures and old family heirlooms. I put everything in my pickup truck and drove to the guy's house. His truck was there, but not her car. I sent her a text message to find out where she was. She said she was going to get some food. I don't trust her right now, so I went to the store to make sure she was there. It makes me so bad to admit what I did, but my faith has been broken, and this is the only way I can be sure of anything. I called her again and asked her to come home so we could talk. "What's wrong?" she asked. I told her to tell the truth and turned off my phone. After 15 minutes, she got home. As always, she came up to me when she walked in and hugged and kissed me, I turned away from her. What was wrong? She asked me again. I told her she needed to be more honest with me. It looked like she didn't hear what I was saying. I told them, okay, if you can't be honest, I'm leaving. She got scared and asked. I was at work, which was a few hours away. Is that what you really did that night, or was that also a lie? What she said. That night I went out for drinks. It turned out that she hadn't seen her best friend, even though she said she had been with her. What I said. Who did you see? No one, she says. I drank by myself. This is me. You're drinking by yourself now. She said, yeah, I think I might have a problem, me. Perhaps. We'll talk about that later. You have one last chance to be honest, or I'll leave. She replied. Okay. There's nothing else I can say. Me. Okay, I'm going. Following that, I got up and left. She thought I was doing the same thing I do when we fight, which is going for a drive. But then she saw that I had my clothes, toiletries, and Xbox with me. What she did next was blow up my phone. There was nothing else to say after telling her that I had given her a chance to be honest, but she had turned it down. She begged and pleaded with me to talk about it with her at home. She kept telling me that she had no idea why I was mad or what I thought she had done. She told me over and over that she loved me and would never hurt me. It tore a new hole in my chest to hear her say that. Those words had always made me feel better, but all of a sudden they hurt like a dull, jagged knife cutting into my heart. I hung up because I couldn't stand it. She called me back about 40 times before I was ready to answer. She asked, "Did you talk to Karen this time?" I asked. Why she told him to go home. I don't want to say this on the phone. I agreed, and to slow down I drove around for a little longer. After that I went home. This is what was being said when I got there. She replied, "I think you talked to Karen, me?" "Not at all, Karen and I went out for drinks a few weeks ago while you were at work. A few guys started buying us drinks, and we didn't say anything. One of the guys tried to kiss me as we were leaving. I pushed him away right away and told him I was married. It made me feel bad and I wanted to tell you, but I hid it because I was scared. Karen hung out with the other guy and gave my phone number to his friend without asking me first. I have never texted him back after he sent me a message. Can I see your phone? Was my answer. Yes, she says. When she gave me her phone, it was completely empty of text messages except for those from my mom and her mom. This was a surprise because she never deletes her texts. I looked at her pictures and found that they were also empty. Then I looked through the pictures I had removed and saw someone I didn't know. My answer: who is this? Her? That person tried to kiss me. I asked, why did you take a picture of him? What did she say? I was being stupid. Me? That's not the reason. Why did you snap a picture of him? I don't know, was her answer. Is that all you want to say? Or is there more? What did she say? That's all I can think of. I left once more. I didn't want any more little bits of truth. I got in my truck and drove off. She ran outside to try to stop me, but I was already out of her reach. I ate my lunch on my tailgate while I thought about what to do next in a nearby park. I began to think of other things I should have known while I was sitting there. One time I worked on the weekend and went to bed early. My wife went out with some friends to a club. When I woke up at 4 a.m., she wasn't there. I tried to get in touch with her several times, but she never answered. She called me again after about 30 minutes and asked if I could pick her up. When I got there, she told me that they had tried to hail a cab but failed. Some men her friend knew gave them a ride, but they demanded that they stop at their house first. When they got to the men's house, her married friend went into a room with one of the guys. My wife told me that she looked for her friend for a while but finally gave up. While she waited, she had a drink in the kitchen with her housemates. She said she didn't hear the phone when I called. We had a fight about this, and she told me she had cut that friend out of her life because she didn't like how that friend was acting. I thought that the problem was over. Another time, she spent the night with a close friend in a faraway city. It looked like 4 girls were drinking and watching movies in their pajamas. She called around midnight to say goodnight. She told me over and over that they were having a great girls' night for almost 20 minutes. After that, I heard a man's voice in the background. When I asked who it was, she at first said she hadn't heard anything. This time, though, it was louder, so she said, "Oh yeah, X brought a bunch of mail with her. It makes everyone here very angry. She was drunk and 3 hours away." I had no choice but to trust her again. We had a fight over why she hadn't told me there were guys nearby, and she promised herself she would never put herself in that situation again. It was clear that promise did not stick. I was ready to give it another shot after thinking about all of these events and the talks we had about them. I turned my phone back on, and it rang almost right away. When I replied, she yelled at me to go home. I went back to my house. That's why I came in and saw her sitting on the couch, sobbing and crying so hard. "I'm so sorry. I'm sorry." "What are you sorry for?" What was it? It looked like she was losing control because she started to rock back and forth. She couldn't speak for almost 5 minutes while she caught her breath. What she said. I fib about the person who tried to kiss me. Me? Okay, tell me what took place. Her. That night, the 4 of us went back to his place. We had fun. It made me feel like the room was closing in on me and a million voices were screaming in my head when I heard her say it. I think I was having a panic attack. I went to the bathroom, splashed cold water on my face, and then I put my head down to rest. What did I say? What did you do? Do you really want me to tell you? She asked. Yes, her response. He fingered me, and I gave him a blowjob. My response, was that it? She says yes. I said, I'm not playing this game anymore. Either tell me everything now, or this will be our final conversation. She began crying again and needed a few minutes before she could speak. We got together again and had sex. I'm so sorry. I adore you and will do anything to make up for this. This is me. Just the one time. If I'm telling you the truth, please give me the opportunity to make amends. Please. My response, I'll think about it. There was an affair with her. We've been seeing each other while you were at work. It's been going on for a month. He is married, but his wife wants to split up with him. My answer was, does he know you're married? Yes. She says. Me. He's having an affair because his marriage is failing. Does that mean you think ours is too? Did you tell him that? No. I don't think ours is being failed. I'm really stupid. Oh, I hate myself. Do not leave me, please. I can make it right. How about me? She answered, whatever you want. My answer was, if you were in my shoes or even in his wife's shoes, what would fix this for you? I know the truth. Being able to trust that you mean what you say. You can trust me. I messed up and will not do this again. Me, if you were his wife. Wouldn't you want to know the truth? She says, sure. I told you to fix this. She replied, do you want me to call her? You said yes, if you think that's what you want. The phone didn't answer when she tried to call his wife. It was a while later when her phone rang. Even though it said Karen work, she looked surprised, so I knew it wasn't Karen. What I said. Is that him? Yes, she says. I picked up the phone. Right away, the coward said, oops, I must have the wrong number. No, this is the husband of the woman you've been cheating on. You can talk to her, she has something to say. I gave her the phone. I told him everything. She said. We're done because he knows the whole truth. You shouldn't come up to me again because it was just a one-night stand. I asked to see the phone before she hung up. In answer, I asked, what divorce lawyer are you using? He told her, I'm not getting divorced. Oh, but you didn't tell my wife you were, right? No, he says. Okay then. May I talk to your wife? I think she has the same right as me to know this. He says, please, man. I had no idea she was married. Don't break up my marriage over a mistake. You messed up yours, which hurt mine. It's only fair that I tell your wife. He tells you not to. She's at work now. When she gets home, I'll tell her everything. This is really me. I swear. Okay. You do that. I hung up. Then I asked my wife if she knew where his wife worked and her name. She did. I told her to phone over and ask for his wife at her office. His wife answered and informed my wife that she was going to leave for the day but would call back from her car. A few minutes later, she did. His wife asked, what's going on? My wife said, I have something dreadful to tell you. I don't want to cause any accidents, therefore please do not drive. His wife said, oh my God. What became of his name? My wife told me no. He is at your apartment right now. I'd like to tell you that for the past month we've been having an affair. I'm being honest with my husband. And I thought you should get the same. After a short pause, his wife said, if this is some sick joke, I will find out who you are after that. She hung up. After not even 10 minutes. My wife got a text message from Karen at work that said, thanks, you made my life terrible. I grabbed the phone and told them. You just ruined 4 lives and 2 marriages. Remember that this was your fault. My wife begged me to stay for the next hour. Because I'd read so many bad reviews online, I knew she would offer therapy, promised to never leave my side, and even give sexual favors. Then she said, my treat, and suggested we go on a trip. We need time away to get back together. She said that because of my work routine, we weren't spending enough valuable time together. Once more, she said exactly what I thought she would. What she didn't expect was when I told her I had already made an appointment for myself to see a counselor. She also didn't think I would tell her that I had found her with someone else in our bed. She didn't think I would answer. I already have a place to stay. She fell to the floor and cried when I told her everything. She kept telling me she didn't deserve to live and begged me to kill her because she was so bad that no one should be around her. This went on for a while. I waited for 4 hours while she made excuses and tried to hug, kiss, or charm me into staying so we could work things out. In the end, I called Karen and told her that her friend who was thinking about killing herself needed help. After that, I left. In the almost day since that happened, I still haven't talked to her. I've been calling and texting her all day. Her family and friends have also reached out, each with a different reason or plea for help. The one statement that really stood out was from her dad. "Do what's best for you," he wrote. "No matter what, I will always love you like a son." It was the first time since the beginning that reading that made me really cry. Tomorrow I'll see my counselor Sharon, and Thursday I'll see a lawyer. I think I know where this is going, but I won't be sure until it shows up. I'm sorry for the long story. But this kind of ranting helps. Again, thank you very much for all of your letters and notes. Sharing their own stories has helped me feel less broken and given me much needed hope. Thank you all. Thanks for seeing it. Please join and hit the bell to stay up to date on more shocking real-life events happening near you if you haven't already. Are you talking about yoga? I thought it was a beginning, so I asked her what she meant. She said she hadn't been making time for yoga. This is how the rest of the talk went. My question was, where were you going if not to yoga? She said. I was going for walks to relax because I've been really stressed out lately. Why were you so tense? What was your reason for lying to me about it? She said. Getting ready to move has been stressful for me, and I didn't know how to tell you. You choose to lie, then? What was the big deal when you told me you were going for a walk to let off steam? I didn't mean to lie, I was just afraid that my worry would make yours worse. But I'm not worried. It looks like you're not telling me everything. What she said. What do you mean? I think you're not telling the truth about more than just skipping yoga. Once more, I want you to be honest. Since you already lied to me, this won't work if you keep lying. I don't know what else to say to her.